I just read a press release from the Irish Council of Civil Liberties where they're calling for urgent action on image-based sexual abuse. And they say that the creation and distribution of private sexual images without consent is not revenge porn, it's image-based sexual abuse. I learned this morning of a good friend and a counsellor of people before profit who suffered from this a number of years ago when she was a student. So clearly it's been going on and rumbling on for too long, but now it's been escalated to an extent that it's becoming viral, and like any virus it will spread unless we deal with it. So I'll add my voice to those calling on you, Minister, to deal with this urgently. It's a pretty sick behaviour of weird predators, and we need to stamp it out. Look, I just want to make a couple of points. To tackle domestic violence seriously, we have to understand its social roots. And it's not just a question of individual bad men, it's that, but it's also the product of a society that for centuries has treated women as second and sometimes third-class citizens, and worse, at one stage regarded them as the property of men, and in particular seeing wives as the property of husbands. And we all know what you can do with your private property. You do what you like with it. The days when we turn a blind eye to this and say it's only domestic are over. Women now are saying, it's not just me too, but enough is enough. And then you ask yourself, well, why don't they leave these relationships? That's the reaction many people will get when you hear of abuse of a woman or the family. Fear is one reason. The fear that if they don't succeed in getting away from the abuser, it'll be worse for them. And they're right, because research shows that some of the most horrific cases of violence are against those who try to leave. But there's another huge factor in that they have nowhere to go. And this situation has become worse during the pandemic, with about 2,000 women and 400 children each month since March seeking refuge from a violent situation. The fact that support for vulnerable women and children is left to charities is an utter disgrace. The state should and could adequately fund essential services, providing refuge in the immediate and support for women and children. But there are 63 organisations listed by your department who receive funding. And it's a bit reminiscent of the Magdalen Institutes, where the state is wiping its hands. This should be a fundamental role of state services without the reliance on charities. 9 out of 26 counties have no refuge. The entire domestic violence sector gets about a quarter of the funding of the racehorse and greyhound industry. That's where we're at, Minister, and I know your department is trying, but it's not enough.